As an example, when we are born, we are very self-centered, and from our perception as an infant, we believe the world revolves around us. Babies are like little sponges, and they absorb everything that is going on in their environment. They are constantly forming opinions about what the world is like, according to the way they are treated. If they are loved and nurtured, they observe the world to be safe and friendly. If babies are abused and neglected, they observe the world to be hostile and cruel. Each day, children go through a multitude of emotions and feelings, and each and every one of these feelings is recorded in the etheric body. As this process continues day after day, the accumulated experiences begin to form a pattern. For instance, if a child is continually abused, he will interpret that experience according to his wisdom and understanding at the time of the incident. From a child's frame of mind, adults appear all-knowing and rather godlike. Consequently, if an adult is abusing a child, the child will think that there must be something very wrong with himself. He believes that he is bad, no good, worthless. These feelings are very painful, and they leave a powerful vibration of worthlessness in the child's etheric body. As the abused child continues his journey through life, he may experience other situations that he interprets as rejection, failure, or an indication of his lack of value as a human being. As these feelings pass through his etheric body, they amplify the vibrations of worthlessness recorded there, and gradually, day in and day out, as these destructive, distorted beliefs build in momentum, the child starts forming a sense of identity and begins accepting these erroneous concepts as truth. This self-destructive belief of worthlessness becomes an ingrained pattern, and the child then begins to behave in a manner that will confirm his belief system. Whatever we believe about ourselves at a deep inner level, we will continually manifest in our life. If we believe we are worthless, no matter what opportunities are presented to us in the way of successful education, loving relationships, fulfilling jobs, etc., we will find a way to sabotage ourselves and fail, because to succeed would be in conflict with who we believe we are. Once we accept an identity, regardless of how distorted it may be, we hold on to it for dear life, because the fear of finding out who we really are is too great. If we will each think back as far as we can remember and just observe in a detached manner the number of times we didn't feel good about ourselves, we can easily see how our low self-esteem was formed. Even children raised in fairly harmonious family situations have all kinds of distorted programming because children don't always interpret situations accurately. We all have records of past hurt, resentment, anger, fear, jealousy, doubt, pain, and sadness. We have memories of things that made us feel bad about ourselves, not valuable, unimportant. Experiences that robbed us of our dignity, our self-respect, our self-esteem. As we reflect over our past, it is easy for us to see that we all have extensive misqualified feelings and thoughts recorded in our etheric memories. Now, as adults, we can review our past with a greater awareness and perceive the error of our childhood perception. We can intellectualize that our abuser was wrong, or that the situation did not mean that we were no good or worthless, but that mental activity doesn't do anything to change the vibrations or patterns and beliefs recorded in our etheric body. Therefore, through sheer mind force, we can convince ourselves for a while that we are okay, but as soon as a difficult circumstance challenges our confidence, those old records are activated, and our failure consciousness of unworthiness is catapulted forth onto the present situation. We thus travel through life dragging the excess baggage of our past with us. We hold on to the distorted belief patterns of who we think we are and proceed to magnetize people and situations into our life who will confirm for us our belief that we are not valuable or worthy. This vicious circle has been a normal mode of operation for literally centuries. It is a behavior pattern that must now cease. In order for us to be truly free, to fulfill our divine plan, our purpose and reason for being, we must transmute our distorted concepts and accept the reality of our God self. In truth, all feelings of low self-esteem, unworthiness, failure, loneliness, rejection, etc., are nothing more than separation from God. When we lift up and reunite with the presence of God, all feelings of unworthiness drop away. Low self-esteem cannot be sustained in the presence of God's abundant light. Our relationships are mirror reflections of our consciousness, and whether they are wonderful or destructive, or a combination of both, at any given moment, they are reflecting what we are sending out through our thoughts, words, actions, feelings, and beliefs. I know this is one of the most difficult concepts to accept, but as we learn more about the complexity of our being, we begin to clearly perceive the truth of that statement. We live, move, and breathe within an electromagnetic force field of energy. Daily, this force field is created and sustained by our thoughts, attitudes, emotions, actions, frame of mind, beliefs, etc. All four of our lower bodies contribute to this force field that surrounds us: physical, etheric, mental, and emotional. This electromagnetic force field is, just as the name implies, magnetic. Consequently, it magnetizes energy to itself that is vibrating at the same frequency. Every single person on the planet is evolving within their own self-created electromagnetic force field. Once we understand this reality, it makes it easier for us to recognize how our relationships reflect our consciousness. For example, if we are suffering from ingrained beliefs of low self-esteem and unworthiness, those distorted vibrations will fill our force field and magnetize to us other people whose force fields are also vibrating with low self-esteem and unworthiness. When our force field enters the force field of the other person, the discordant vibrations are amplified for both of us. This makes us very uncomfortable, and we begin to feel that we don't like each other. We may even argue or attack the other person verbally. If we are feeling good about ourselves and our force field is filled with love, we will magnetize to ourselves someone who is also content with who they are. As we enter each other's force field, these positive feelings are amplified, and we feel very comfortable in each other's presence. Now, in these two examples, I have greatly simplified the process, but that's the essence of what occurs. We must realize that every person on the planet has myriad frequencies pulsating in their force field from all of their earthly experiences. Therefore, our relationships are very complex. Sometimes the same person can amplify within us positive and negative frequencies at the same time, thus creating a love-hate relationship. The advantage of having this knowledge is that we can now use our relationships as wonderful tools and opportunities for growth. By observing how we feel about the people in our lives, we can determine what we are feeling about ourselves. Often we are oblivious to our true feelings. Because life has been so painful, we have numbed ourselves as a means of survival. But now, with greater insight, we can observe every facet of our relationships and know that the way we feel about each person is reflecting some aspect of ourself. When someone pushes our buttons, it means that they are amplifying a frequency in our own energy field that we are not comfortable with. If we didn't have that particular frequency in our force field, they could not push our buttons. I know this is difficult to accept because when someone is a source of irritation for us, the last thing we want to see is any comparison to ourselves in their behavior. But the only reason people affect us in an adverse way is because at some level we are buying into what they are saying or doing. At some level we are believing them, even if we are fighting tooth and nail to deny it. If we really didn't believe what they were saying, it wouldn't have the same effect on us. With this wisdom, we can evaluate all of our relationships: parents, spouses, children, relatives, friends, lovers, co-workers, employers, associates, casual relationships, and all of humanity. We can observe where we are buying into destructive beliefs and where we are giving our power away. Then we can transmute our electromagnetic force field by reprogramming our self-concept and self-image. As we recognize and accept our true God reality and release all negative beliefs about ourselves, we will see our feelings and attitudes toward our relationships changing miraculously. When our force field is filled only with love, our relationships will reflect that love. People truly treat us and perceive us the way we perceive ourselves. If we don't like the way people are treating us, we need only to love ourselves more, and our relationships will be transformed. Experiment with this truth, and you will create for yourself the loving relationships you have been desiring. Naturally, this doesn't mean that every single person we come in contact with will automatically express only love and light with every thought and word, but it does mean that we will stop giving our power away to people. When we love and respect ourselves, they will no longer have the ability to affect us in an adverse way simply because we will no longer buy into their behavior or take it personally. We don't have control over the things people say or do, but we have absolute control over how we choose to let their words and actions affect us. When we allow people the space to be who they are without allowing them to affect us adversely, we will have truly accomplished the goal of taking our power back. We will love ourselves and amplify the love in them. Hence, they will be lifted up out of their negative feelings to a degree, and gradually they will begin to believe they are also valuable. This will improve our relationships all the way around. Occasionally, we may be in a relationship that is abusive or violent. Sometimes we have such a low opinion of ourselves that we magnetize someone into our life who will punish us in a way we subconsciously feel we deserve to be punished. This is not an uncommon pattern in people who were abused as children. Needless to say, anyone who abuses another person, either physically, mentally, emotionally, or verbally, is not loving or respecting himself. People who are so severely programmed may not be able to start loving themselves just by experiencing our love, but as we begin to love ourselves, we will value ourselves enough to extricate ourselves from abusive situations. We will no longer tolerate violence or abuse of any kind. Sometimes the fear of leaving a relationship is greater than the fear of abuse, but I promise you, when you begin loving yourself, you will magnetize such wonderful people into your life that you will gladly let go of destructive relationships. I am a counselor, and one of the things I have people do to begin loving themselves more is to write a list of all of the wonderful qualities they possess. Sometimes people feel so bad about themselves they cannot come up with even one positive trait. In that case, I have them look at all of the people they love and admire and list the qualities they appreciate in those people. The reality is that our relationships are mirror reflections of ourself. Consequently, for us to even recognize and appreciate particular wonderful qualities in other people means that at some level, those qualities resonate as truth within us, regardless of how oblivious we may be to them. The only reason we believe we are stupid or worthless or failures is because we affirmed those lies to ourselves over and over again throughout our lifetime. Now, to reprogram ourselves, we must begin daily affirming the truth. It is time now to take that exercise a step further and reach into even higher levels of our potential. Instead of just listing the things we love and respect about ourselves, or writing down the things we love and respect in other people, we need to tap our limitless God self. Before beginning your list, quiet yourself and take time to feel centered and connected with your heart. Feel the love of God flowing through the stargate of your heart, and say to yourself, if I had no limitations, no time and space limitations, no family limitations, no financial limitations, etc., and could instantly be the most positive, whole, complete, successful, prosperous, effective, loving human being on earth, who would I be and what would I do? Then begin writing down the thoughts that flow into your mind. Write them in the present tense, beginning each statement with I am. Don't feel self-centered or conceited. Don't censor or edit your thoughts. Just allow the creative ideas to surge forth. Let go of any nagging thoughts of self-ridicule or self-doubt, and let the vision you are experiencing register in your feelings. There is an expression that states, "What the mind can conceive, the person can achieve." But the truth is, the most glorious, perfect person that you can possibly imagine being in this moment is going to be barely scratching the surface of who you really are and who you are capable of becoming. This list will serve as the blueprint and the beginning thought form for the new you. This will be the new program, the new belief system, and the new sense of identity you will start emulating, but it is just the beginning. As you focus on this wonderful vision of yourself, it will grow and evolve. Remember, whatever you put your attention and energy into, you bring into form. Whoever you believe you are, you become. So what you are actually doing is creating a new program that you will put into the computer of your brain to reprogram your old patterns of unworthiness and low self-esteem. Your brain really is your computer system, and you know the expression in computer talk, garbage in, garbage out. Well, that is exactly what you have been doing. Now it's time to remove the old floppy disk with the erroneous program on it and replace it with a wonderful new floppy disk program. You need to focus on your list every day and affirm the truth of your vision with deep feeling. You need to let go of all disbelief and ask your God self to transmute all resistance, all interference, all blocks, all doubts that are in any way preventing you from manifesting the vision of the new you. As this vision begins to register in your feelings as a true identity, you will act out of this new sense of identity, and you will actually become your vision. In the beginning, your vision may feel like empty words. You'll hear the voice of your lower human ego saying, "Who do you think you're kidding?" But continue to repeat the affirmations every day anyway. You must fake it till you make it. Remember, the only reason you have low self-esteem is because you or other people in your life affirmed that you were worthless over and over again until it finally began to register as truth. And eventually you accepted that lie as a sense of identity. Now you are doing the opposite. You are going to be affirming the truth of your innate value as a son or daughter of God with limitless potential. And day by day, this identity will begin to register as real. To accelerate the process of removing the old negative program, you must utilize the gift of the precious violet flame of limitless transmutation. Constantly ask your God presence to blaze the violet fire in, through, and around every thought, word, action, or feeling you have ever experienced that is in any way preventing you from becoming the reality of your new image. Ask that the cause, core, effect, record, and memory of low self-esteem be instantly transmuted into light, and begin to accept and know the truth of who you are. The following is an example to give you an idea of what your list might include, but every person is unique, and only your God presence can reveal to you your perfect vision and blueprint. So be sure that you make your own elaborate list. I am recognizing who I am, and I love and respect myself. I am continually manifesting wonderful, loving relationships in my life. I am expressing limitless physical perfection, slim, firm, flawless form eternal youth, vibrant health, radiant beauty, perfect eating and drinking habits. I am divine respect for my 4 lower bodies, physical, etheric, mental, and emotional. I am loving every aspect of myself, including my sexuality. I am in a fulfilling, creative, and financially rewarding job. I am open and receptive to God's limitless flow of abundance. I am an exponent and example of divine family life, including my place in the family of humanity. I am expressing my highest potential as a son or daughter of God, as a wife or husband, mother or father, grandmother or grandfather, woman or man, as a friend, relative, co-worker, human being, earth steward, light worker, teacher, example, way shower, and integrator of heaven and earth, angels and elementals. I am divine happiness, humor, laughter, joy, and fun. I am divine confidence, self-esteem, trust, integrity, honesty, truth, reverence for all life, acceptance, tolerance, and inner knowing. I am divine thoughts, words, actions, and feelings. I am divine illumination, perfect speech, communication, listening, writing, and learning. I am transfiguration, limitless transmutation, hope, ascension, and every other conceivable divine quality of God. I am the perfect manifestation of my divine plan and the divine plan of beloved Mother Earth and all creation. I am in constant communication with the realms of eternal truth and the divine heart and mind of God. I am permanently manifesting in my daily tangible life the perfection of heaven on earth. I am an exponent of divine government, human rights, animal rights, and Mother Earth's rights and liberation and freedom. I am perpetually held in the embrace of God's invincible protection, and with every breath I take, I am expanding the borders of the kingdom of my Father, Mother God. Learning to love yourself is a process that will require every bit of your patience, acceptance, and tolerance. It will require the full power of your attention and your constant thoughts and feelings. You cannot change a lifetime, probably hundreds of lifetimes, of believing you are worthless into recognizing you are actually a divine being with limitless potential by just affirming the positive vision of the new you for 5 minutes a day. We are such creatures of habit that if we aren't consciously focusing on what we want to manifest in our life and monitoring our thoughts and feelings constantly, in no time we will fall back into the dysfunctional patterns of self-flagellation. Obviously, if you affirm your value and self-worth for 5 minutes a day and then beat yourself up for the rest of the day, you're not going to succeed in changing your self-image. Remember, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. You must consistently throughout the day monitor your thoughts and ask yourself, what am I thinking and feeling about myself now? And how about now? And how about now? If you aren't feeling good about yourself, you need to immediately correct the situation. Say to yourself, no, that is an old, erroneous thought pattern, and it is no longer who I am. I am a valuable, lovable person. Then think of the list you have written of the new you and begin affirming it with deep feelings. Keep the list in your pocket if you want to, or just take one statement on the list and affirm it over and over again until it starts to feel true. Then affirm the next statement, then the next. Sometimes it helps to visualize yourself walking through golden doors And as the doors close behind you, envision all of the old patterns of low self-esteem being left behind the door. When an old negative thought pattern or feeling pops up, just consciously put it on the other side of the door in your mind's eye and flood it with the violet flame of limitless transmutation. Affirm that this is part of the past and no longer appropriate for you to think about or feel. Look at what is coming up and ask yourself, what do I want to be expressing in my life instead of this old negative belief about myself? Then focus on what you want to be expressing instead of what you don't want to be expressing. Initially, this process feels very uncomfortable. It feels self-obsessive and self-centered. It may even feel egotistical. Normally, people are so used to telling themselves they are worthless that sometimes it even feels like self-deception. But even in the face of all resistance, you must continue the exercises in spite of how uncomfortable you feel. Often the discomfort is generated by the lower human ego, which is fear-based. This aspect of your personality has thrived on your misery and doesn't want to let go of its control. It is actually throwing a temper tantrum to prevent your God presence from taking full control of your vehicles because it thinks it is going to die if that happens. You must transmute your human ego with the full momentum of the violet flame of limitless transmutation and flood it with love so it will feel safe enough to let go and be transformed. The next step in learning to love yourself is taking care of yourself. This change in your behavior will feel even more foreign than the positive affirmations. This step means you have to actually ask yourself in every situation, what is the highest good for me? That thought normally sends shock waves through people. Imagine the audacity of thinking of yourself first. Doesn't that totally conflict with everything you've ever been taught? Well, it conflicts with everything we have all been taught, and that is why we are so codependent and dysfunctional. The important thing to understand about this step is that you are lifting up in consciousness and you are transcending your lower human ego. Consequently, when you ask, is this the highest good for me? You must ask this question to your God presence and not your human ego. Your human ego is self-obsessive and operates strictly to gratify your physical senses. It is also based in fear, so when it responds to that question, the answer will always be selfish, greedy, and usually at the expense of everybody else. In other words, the dog-eat-dog, looking out for number one syndrome. But when you ask the God presence that question, that aspect of your being is always functioning on all levels with regard to the highest good for all concerned. Your God presence is always prompting you forward to your highest potential, and it clearly knows that this must be accomplished with reverence for all life. It will never be true that if you fulfill your highest good, other people or other life forms will be hurt in the process. Your divine plan just doesn't conflict like that. This means that if you are truly doing what is the highest good for you in a particular situation, it will also be the highest good for everyone else involved, even if they don't perceive it that way. It will never be the case that if you are fulfilling your divine plan, it is preventing someone else from fulfilling their divine plan. When there seems to be a real conflict, then you must realize that someone's human ego is involved and not their God presence. Another thing you must understand in this step is that you are not helping anyone by being a martyr and sacrificing what is right for you just to make someone else happy. Even if you are giving them what they want, if you have had to sacrifice what is right for you in the process, it is not going to be for their highest good. When people make these self-sacrifices, it is because they want to be loved and approved of. They also want to be accepted. The problem is that you are actually invalidating yourself and negating your value as a human being when you make decisions to try to be what everybody else wants you to be instead of who you are. For one thing, it is impossible to fulfill everybody's expectations, so you are always disappointing someone. When you try to be what everybody else wants you to be, you become so confused you totally lose touch with who you are and what you are supposed to be doing to fulfill your divine plan on earth. This is really a tragedy that consistently holds you in bondage. When you are not accomplishing your divine purpose and reason for being, no matter what you do, you never feel fulfilled. You will always feel like something is missing in your life, and you experience dissatisfaction with everything you attempt. This once again leads into failure consciousness and low self-esteem. Then the vicious circle begins all over again. Now, to relieve your fears that you are being selfish to think of yourself first, I want to assure you that your God presence is the most loving, caring, understanding, compassionate being you could ever imagine. When this aspect of yourself is making the decisions of what is the highest good for you in a situation, you will be receiving ideas on ways to love, heal, help, benefit, and nurture the people involved that you never dreamed of before. The difference is your actions will also result in loving, healing, benefiting, and nurturing yourself in the process. When this transformation in your behavior pattern occurs, you will move out of the poor me consciousness. Then, instead of feeling victimized, you will experience the joy and wonder of really being a positive, effective person. The next step in developing self-love is learning to nurture and pamper yourself every day. When you take the time to really take care of yourself, you transmit the message to the computer of your conscious mind that you are valuable. I know that life is hectic and people usually use that as an excuse for not taking time to pamper themselves, but you need to recognize that this is a cop-out and create a new belief system. Affirm to yourself daily, I have all the time I need to accomplish whatever I need to do today, including taking quality time to love and nurture myself. I assure you that there is not another job that you have to do that is more important or more beneficial than learning to love yourself. Every single thing existing in your life is reflecting how you feel about you. This includes your relationships, your job, your finances, your health, your state of mind, your spirituality, everything. Learning to love yourself is the most critical and urgent factor in transforming your life. Remember, your life is just reflecting your consciousness. When you go about trying to change the situations in your life without changing your self-image and the way you feel about yourself, it is like trying to change the reflection in the mirror without changing the object that is causing the reflection. It is a futile effort. Many times, the thought of nurturing and pampering oneself is so foreign to people that they can't even imagine what to do. Just begin by asking yourself, what would make me feel really good right now? A walk in nature, reading a good book, taking a bubble bath, relaxing with a warm cup of tea, having a massage, eating something healthy, meditating, taking a nap, playing a game, making love, sharing time with someone I love, praying, communicating with a special friend, writing my innermost thoughts, doing my affirmations, listening to an uplifting tape, listening to music, playing music, interacting in a really fun way with my family, etc. The important part of this step is that whatever you choose to nurture yourself must genuinely be for you, not just doing what other people want you to do. When you are taking time for the special nurturing and pampering of yourself, consciously acknowledge to yourself that that is what you are doing. Say to yourself, I am doing this for me because I love myself and I am worth it. I am filling myself up with love and tenderness. This fills me with joy and a sense of fulfillment and happiness. The exciting thing about the new awareness that is pouring forth from the realms of illumined truth is that you don't have to understand it all fully. You don't have to totally accept it or even believe it. All you have to do is experiment with it and put forth the required effort to change your negative habits. If you do, you will prove it to yourself beyond a shadow of a doubt. This process of transformation is scientific and accurate to the letter. If you genuinely love yourself, you will value yourself enough to feel worthy of loving relationships, prosperity, health, happiness, joy, peace, and all of the other gifts that you have been blocking and denying yourself through your low self-esteem. Then you will feel safe enough to open the stargate of your heart and allow God's limitless flow of abundance to pour into your life. You will know and accept through every fiber of your being, all that my Father, Mother, God has is mine.